Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Conquer College Admissions. Today in this video, I'm going to talk about what if I don't have any hardship or obstacles? Then how can I still stand out and get accepted into Ivy League and top tier colleges? This video idea came because one of my students during our coaching call was like, yeah, I don't have any trauma or hardships that I could talk about, and I feel like I need something like that so I can stand out. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, like you don't. And of course I coached her through this process, but I thought this would be a very fun video idea because I think a lot of students also think about this quite often. And before we get started with the video, I wanted to invite you to our free live training. This is where I'll go over major mistakes that students are making, what strategies you need to start implementing since there are so many changes, especially different criteria for accepting students. Low acceptance rate, some are lower than Ivy League schools. So definitely attend the live training at passionprep.com/live. It is completely free and you'll learn more about how we work with our students. It's just a good introductory class where you can really grasp the whole industry of the college admissions process. Number one is to redefine obstacle. People tend to think an obstacle is an event that happened that might be just really sad and it was really hard, and students have expressed to me that maybe her mom was going through breast cancer, or there was like an incident or accident that happened within the family. There are just many real true hardships and obstacles that can happen, but in the case that you don't, which is a blessing, right? What we mean by obstacle could also mean by the way that you've shifted the way you think about life. So a lot of the times colleges really want to know, what perspectives do you hold? How did your values mold and change over the years? And it doesn't have to be like this one big event that changed her life, but it can be a series of events, or maybe a book you read, or a research position you've had. So it's the molding and shaping of your values and your perspectives. And mentally, we go through a lot in today's time. We are stressed, we feel like we're not good enough. There are a lot of internal hardships that we go through as well. So you don't need to forcefully think like, oh, I need to bring up a hardship, but an obstacle can definitely be more of an internal perspective taking element in your life. So for example, a lot of the time students think, oh, I have to work really, really hard to get into my dream college. But I had a student write about, actually, it wasn't the hard work, but it was my intention. So why am I doing this? Why am I volunteering here? What is my purpose and impact that I want to make? So redefining that part of you and the actions that you're taking is a really smart way to redefine what an obstacle is for you. Second is to focus on your passion and intellectual curiosity. Colleges want to see why you want to come to the respective school and study your major. They want to see evidences of your academic interest. So if you're going into pre-med, they want to see what kinds of areas in the medical specialty, or what kind of research positions did you hold, internship, shadowing experience. They really want to know why you want to go into this field. And that's kind of where interdisciplinary, major, passion, intellectual curiosity all merge together. So if you feel like there isn't an obstacle for you to talk about at all, focus on the academic side of you. So why you want to go into that school, and why do you want to take classes from that professor or engage in their research center. Really emphasize the impact that you want to make in the academic world. The third tip is to build your signature story without using any trauma or obstacle or hardships. The way that you do this is a little bit more complicated, and this is something that we definitely teach our students inside our programs. But a signature story does not necessarily mean like, hey, I was so shy, but I'm now confident. that rags to riches story, it's not extreme like that, but signature story also highlights the shifts that you had in the way that you view life. For example, one of my students did a passion project, and she first started off with volunteering in a homeless shelter, but she also wanted to go into like dentistry and medical direction as well. So one of the things that we realized was that a lot of the homeless people did not have proper dental care. So we identified that need and really helped them out in that aspect instead of trying to do like everything, So a signature story did not require for that student to go through some kind of an obstacle, but just an observation or a very intentional act or kindness. All of that really matters. So narrowing down your academic interest and building your story around why you decided to do XYZ. One of the things that Dartmouth College admission officer said was, please write why you did this. And that's what really makes your story great, because it's not only about I did this and I did that and listing things out, but addressing the why, the observation, the more nuanced layer that you could add into your college application. Next, you can emphasize impact and community. In our theme formula, academic interest plus personal interest and SPV, SPV stands for strength, personality, and values. If you have community or making an impact in there, then you need to emphasize that a lot. So, when you are making an impact, why did you decide to start volunteering there? What kind of impact did you make? Was it for your local center? Was it for your state? Was it national? Did you partner up with other students from different parts of the world? To give you an example, when I decided to volunteer at an elementary school, what I focused on was I just love education, but when I started volunteering there, I was so shocked that so many 4th and 5th grader students could not multiply numbers. And I turned it into a literacy math camp, and that really became my passion project that got me into USC and later Harvard. I focused a lot on the impact that I was making because I was solving a specific problem, but at the same time I also was doing it for a specific target audience, and that's what you really need to focus on. So if you are emphasizing that part of your story, then it's going to be great. The last tip here is to demonstrate resilience and grit. I don't know if you know Angela Duckworth. She's a professor at UPenn, and she wrote the book Grit. And when it came out, I read it immediately. And it was about how successful people, when they collected data, what they had in common was grit. And grit is very similar to resilience because it's basically, in the moment of hardship, can you get back up? Can you try again? Are you gonna not give up and go for it again? Are you gonna be consistent about your work ethic? All of those great things. But resilience is a very strong characteristic. And resilience means that even when things are so hard, so uncertain, you feel like no one's gonna support you. As an example, when I was in high school, I was never like that popular girl. So when I decided to run for leadership, everyone had to vote for me. And I knew I was gonna lose, but I went for it anyway because I wanted to put myself out there and I wanted to do it and I really wanted it. And then I lost. And then the next year I did it again using different strategies and such, and I got elected. Resilience means true vulnerability. Like, it might not work out, but you do it anyway. You troubleshoot it. Maybe, for example, when you're working on your passion project, you feel like no one's gonna show up, but you do it anyway for that one person or 3 people. But then you troubleshoot it and you do it again and you improve it, you enhance it, and then it's even better. I think that's what really makes people successful is you can't just expect everything to be good from the beginning. You will have errors, you will go through mistakes, you will go through heartbreaks, but how are you going to get out of that? How are you going to overcome that? That is resilience and grit. So demonstrating that is also a very good way to do so. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're ready to get started and dive right into our course materials, this is where we will walk you through how to create your signature story, how to stand out, how to build your extracurricular activities, and just so many more. We'll put the link in the chat. You can go ahead and purchase the course and get started right away actually, and it is lifetime access and you get all the course materials, which is really great. And then we have our free live training coming up this Wednesday. You can register for your free seat at passionprep.com/live. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.